Thank you very much and greetings to you all. Welcome to the latest update on the world's hottest issues on our YouTube channel. Here are the details right ahead. Western media recently reported that Russia's condition to end the war is for Ukrainian troops to withdraw from Donbas and to freeze the front line in the Zaporizhia and Kherson provinces. The U.S. President, Donald Trump, is said to be ready to discuss this condition. Mr. Trump himself also stated that, between Kyiv and Moscow, a territorial exchange is being planned, but gave no details. Ukraine's Strana newspaper believes that the above information allows the assumption that the agreement could include not only Ukrainian troops leaving Donbas, but also Russian forces withdrawing from Sumy, Dnipro, Zaporizhia and Kharkiv provinces. However, the sharp reaction of Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, when he affirmed that Ukraine will not cede any part of its territory, shows that the key points of the agreement, spreading in the media, are in fact a scenario unfavorable to Kyiv in terms of territorial exchange, if the revelations from Western media are correct, and the U.S. has given preliminary consent to the withdrawal of Ukrainian troops from Donbas. That could mean at least 10 cities will come under Russian control, including Severodonetsk, Bakhmut, Kostiantynivka, Pokrovsk, Mirnorod, Druzhkivka, Toretsk, Pokrovsk, Lyman and Sloviansk. This accounts for about 25% of Donetsk province, equivalent to nearly 7,000 square kilometers. Most of these cities are heavily fortified Ukrainian military positions, prepared over many years. Losing them would mean Russian forces advancing over 80 kilometers further west. President Volodymyr Zelensky also recently affirmed he will not violate the constitution on matters related to territory, and emphasized that the Ukrainian people will never give up their land to occupying forces. Zelensky said in a message on Telegram, "The answer to Ukraine's territorial issue is already in Ukraine's constitution. No one will, and no one can, deviate from that. The Ukrainian people will not give up their land to occupying forces." In a recent statement on social media, U.S. President Donald Trump said the parties, including Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, have come close to a ceasefire agreement, aiming to end the conflict lasting over 3 years. However, Trump admitted this agreement may require Ukraine to cede a significant part of its territory. Immediately afterward, President Zelensky strongly rejected it, saying that any decision made without Kyiv's participation is against peace and cannot be implemented. The Axios news agency recently reported that in 2 days, U.S. officials, Ukraine and several European countries will hold meetings in the UK to unify their stance as well as possible peace terms. According to sources, any territorial concession by Ukraine would also require a national referendum in the country. The idea of a direct meeting in the UK was proposed in a phone call between U.S. officials, Ukraine and Europe. Preparations for the proposed event are being discussed, including who will join the meeting. Despite many observers' concerns that Ukraine and European countries may not easily concede or be sidelined, the Ukrainian President, Volodymyr Zelensky, has called on partners to support all constructive steps by the U.S., affirming that the war must end with a proper peace, reliable and lasting. The Ukrainian leader said, "We are working with our partners to ensure concrete steps are taken. More than 10 exchanges have been held with leaders and heads of state, including the Prime Minister of Poland, the President of Finland, the President of Latvia, and the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic." Recently, The Khmer Times reported that Mr. Alexander Yugolnikov, third secretary of the Russian embassy in Phnom Penh, visited refugee sites into provinces Adar-Mianchi and Siem Reap during the week. Exact date unknown. Mr. Yugolnikov said, "We have visited several refugee camps and found this to be a very serious humanitarian issue for the people. Having a ceasefire agreement now is very positive, and the top priority is that both sides must seriously maintain peace and not let the humanitarian situation worsen." In response to a question about the possibility of Russia assisting Cambodia during this period, Mr. Yugolnikov reaffirmed that Moscow supports a peaceful solution and for the displaced people to return home soon. Mr. Yugolnikov added, "We welcome the ceasefire agreement and hope that all disputes will be resolved through peaceful means. We also look forward to the day when all refugees can return home." According to Khmer Times, Mr. Yugolnikov, together with diplomats from 10 other countries and representatives of 15 UN agencies, made a 2-day visit to evacuation camps along the Cambodia-Thailand border. Meanwhile, Thailand's Bangkok Post reported that the Thailand-Cambodia Border Command Center, CTBC, emphasized that the US, China and Malaysia had pledged not to interfere in resolving the issue between Thailand and Cambodia. CTBC stated that the Thailand-Cambodia Border Committee meeting was successful, especially regarding the ceasefire agreement, and noted that the people will benefit the most. CTBC held a joint press conference with Vice Admiral Surasan Siris, deputy spokesperson of the Royal Thai Armed Forces Headquarters, and Ms. Kanchana Patarachok, Deputy Director General of the Information Department, spokesperson for the Thai Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Announcement of the GPC meeting results in Malaysia. The GPC meeting was held in Malaysia, in which Thailand and Cambodia reached a consensus and details of the ceasefire. Delegates from the United States, China and Malaysia also attended as third-party observers. Thailand and Cambodia agreed on 13 points to address the border situation between the two countries. Both sides agreed that the ceasefire would benefit the people, helping them return home and resume normal life. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim of Malaysia, as ASEAN chair, confirmed that Malaysia and other ASEAN countries would serve as observers for Thailand and Cambodia to conduct bilateral negotiations. The United States and China would only act as observers and supporters for the negotiations, successfully reaching a ceasefire agreement. Then the Golden Dome is one of the largest military initiatives of the Trump administration, aiming to establish Golden Dome in orbit. The system consists of sensor and interceptor satellites, capable of detecting and destroying ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, and long-range attack drones. With hundreds of billions of dollars, the United States is betting on this ambitious project. Its Golden Dome, weapons manufacturer Lockheed Martin, is aiming for a major milestone, testing a prototype orbital missile interceptor in 2028. Capable of shooting down even highly maneuverable hypersonic missiles with high mobility. Although key elements in the overall architecture of the Golden Dome project are still being finalized by the U.S. government and Department of Defense, the orbital missile interception system is considered the most important part of the project. The massive scale of the project includes ground-based radars, space sensors, orbital missile interceptors, ground-launched and airborne interceptors, meaning multiple prime contractors will be involved. However, Lockheed Martin hopes to secure the largest share of contracts, with its lead in the most critical area: orbital missile interception. Ms. Amanda Plow, Director of Advanced Programs Development at Lockheed Martin, said, "I believe that with the quantities they require, more than one major prime contractor will be needed. It may require several of us to participate, as well as many other companies in the industry, Ms. Plow said. The goal is to conduct an orbital test of a space-based interception system. By 2028, we have the capability to do that. We are ready to support. More importantly, currently there is no defense system that can fully counter hypersonic missiles, a field where many U.S. adversaries have gained a large advantage. These missiles travel at hypersonic speeds and maneuver unpredictably, making existing defense systems, including Advanced THAAD and Patriot PAC-3, very difficult to intercept. Lockheed believes its orbital missile interception system can address these threats. Earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump, when speaking to the media in May, announced the Golden Dome Defense Project. According to the White House chief, this missile defense system will protect the U.S. from potential attacks by default, using various types of ground-based and space-based weapons from abroad, Trump said at the project launch event in the Oval Office at the White House that, once fully operational, the Golden Dome will be able to intercept various types of missiles, even if they are launched from the other side of the Earth, and even from space. The Golden Dome will permanently end the missile threat against the United States. On social media, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he welcomed the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan at an event he called a historic peace summit, aimed at ending the decades-long conflict between the two nations in the South Caucasus region. U.S. officials believe a peace agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan could pave the way for Baku to join the Abraham Accords, the series of normalization agreements between Israel and several Muslim nations, brokered by Trump in his first term. Although details of the U.S.-backed deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan have not yet been released, one key element of the agreement is being called the Road of Care for International Peace and Prosperity, or more simply, the Trump Bridge. This potential project aims to connect Azerbaijan's mainland with its exclave, Nakhchivan, through Armenian territory via the controversial route known as the Zangezur Corridor in Azerbaijan and the Sunak Road in Armenia. Regardless of the form the agreement takes, its impact will certainly extend beyond Armenia and Azerbaijan and affect three neighboring countries, Russia, Iran, and Turkey. A U.S.-brokered peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan could change the balance of power in the South Caucasus, an energy-producing region bordering Russia, Turkey, and Iran. Armenia and Azerbaijan are located at the strategic crossroads between Asia and Europe, having once been under the control of the Persian, Ottoman, and Russian empires at different times in history. After gaining independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, the two countries began their first war over Nagorno-Karabakh in relations with Turkey. Armenia to this day still demands that Ankara recognize the Armenian genocide during World War I, which most countries acknowledge. Conversely, Azerbaijan has strengthened ties with Turkey. Over the past 3 decades, Turkish drones played a pivotal role in military victories in 2020 and 2023, contributing to the collapse of the breakaway Republic of Artsakh and prompting Armenia to temporarily suspend its participation in the Russia-led Collective Security Treaty Organization CSTO. Meanwhile, Russia and Iran have their own interests in the region, particularly concerning the International North-South Transport Corridor, North-South, the anti-sanctions railway route connecting India to Russia, the so-called Trump Bridge, if built near the Armenian border. Iran could disrupt this plan. Mr. Zohar Kasera, a senior expert at the International Crisis Group, assessed that Iran and Russia are certainly concerned about the U.S. presence, especially in terms of security. Since this route runs right along the Iranian border, the U.S. presence there is all the more sensitive. He believes that Turkey, on the other hand, is very enthusiastic about transport routes linking the eastern region through Armenia and Azerbaijan. Director of the Center for Democracy and Regional Security in Armenia, Tigran Grigoryan, believes that Turkey is the only one among the three regional powers willing to support the U.S. proposal, and the country has already begun building a railway line linking the city of Kars in the east to Nakhchivan province. Conversely, he said, Iran will strongly oppose anything that threatens the route along the border with Armenia. Iran sees any weakening of Armenia's sovereignty here as a threat directly to its northern border and the north-south corridor, which is the route connecting Iran with Europe through Armenian territory. Moreover, the relationship between Azerbaijan and Israel is growing closer, which also concerns Iran, and it is seeking to ease relations with Baku. Mr. Grigoryan noted that for Russia, the situation is even more sensitive. Any success by the U.S. in this initiative would be a heavy blow to Russia's position in the region. Ms. Alexia Vartanian, a conflict and security expert in the South Caucasus, agreed that the U.S. move is helping Armenia and Azerbaijan move closer to peace. And it also shows that Russia is gradually losing influence in the South Caucasus, a trend that began long ago and was accelerated after Nagorno-Karabakh's collapse amid the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine conflict.